Hey guys, it's Carl Brown from GuitarLessons365.com. Today we're going to finish our look at November Rain with that killer outro solo by Slash. So we're still tuned down a half step here. Now this solo has a couple of sections in it that are just kind of, he's just winging it with some he's just really improvising and doing a lot of fast licks. For those couple of parts, I'm going to show you the notes that he's playing, the types of licks that he's doing, but it's a very random effect. He'll never do it the same way twice. So to get it exactly note for note would be pretty much impossible, but you can make it sound pretty much exactly like it if you use a lot of the same techniques that he's using, which I'll show you, and if you use just the same notes, just basically just the same 8 notes that he's just kind of messing around with. All right, but the rest of it is pretty melodic and you can recreate it note for note. All right, so we start here with just a little build into the solo. We kind of ended the rhythm video with this, but and he's just playing those 2 notes, the 5th fret on the G and the D together. Kind of building into it. You really hear that G string a lot. And he's got that D with it, the 5th fret on the D string, that is. All right, then he goes into that main melody. Now this melody repeats all the way through every time except for just once. So it's real important to learn this. And it sounds like this. All right, and from there he'll end it differently every time. So that melody is a half step bend at the 19th fret on the high E string. So you're bending into that so it sounds like 1 fret higher. Then release that bend and just pick 19 with some vibrato on it normally. Then go up to that 20th fret and do a whole step bend. So you picked it normal, then bent it up. Then come back down and just play 20, 19, 20. So far. All right, then jump down here to the 15th fret on the high E, to the 16 on the B, back to the 15 on the high E. Now you're going to change positions by grabbing the 16th fret here on the high E string with your 3rd finger. That's how Slash plays it. And then we had this, which is a little legato lick. We're going to play a hammer on from 15 to 16, pull back off to 15. Pull off to 13, and back to 15. You're going to pick that last 15. So all together. All right, so from there we had the different endings, which is what now we got to focus on all the different endings. We're always going to keep going back to that melody after each one, though. All right, so this first phrase after that sounds like this. So the notes aren't going by that quick. There's a couple of little hammer-on pull-offs in there. So we're going to start here with the 13th fret on the high E string and go 13, 15, 16. And then do a quick little hammer pull between that 15 and 16. So you're going to quickly hammer on 15 to 16 and pull back off to 15. All right? That's one of the little legato licks he does. There's one more. Then we're just going to pick, so 13 on the high E, 16, 13, 16 on the D. And then we're going to do a quick little hammer on again, which is going to be doing 13, hammer on to 15, pull back off to 13 on the high E. So we had this so far. So this hammer on is a little bit quicker, and then we just continue playing notes straight through, 16 on the B, 13 on the high E, then 15, 16, 13 on the high E. There's a little sequence there. He kind of does this little ascending thing a lot. So we have this so far. Then 16, 15, 16. And then a little half step bend on the 15 and then back down. And then kind of pick it again. So all together. All right, and now we have these ascending phrases again to end it. That's, now you're going to ascend through the scale, starting on the 13th fret on the B. So 13, 15, 16, up to 13 on the high E. And now we're going to ascend again, but this time we're going to start from the 15th fret on the B. So just basically the last three notes of the four-note sequence we just did. So we have this. And then we're going to resolve it from 15 to 13 on the B. All together. All right, then we're back to that main melody. All right, and now here comes one of those rapid sequences that is completely improvised, and it's just kind of, he's just kind of winging it. All right, so what he's doing for all of these sections when he's doing this is he's playing just these 8 notes, and you're 16 on the high E, 15 and 13. Those 3, the same frets on the B string, and then 15, 13 on the G string. So if you know your alternate picking exercises, so he's just basically doing a lot of this. He goes up to the scale, gets to that top note, and then goes back 1 note and does that little hammer pull there. And then continue alternate picking, kind of down. And sometimes he'll just make it up to the 15 and do the little legato thing. So a lot of times he takes it all the way up to the top note, does that little hammer pull off of it. And sometimes he goes up to the 16 and sometimes just the 15. It's really about timing it so you end the phrase at the right time. So we have basically, now it does start here at the 15th fret, so, and works its way. All right, so we're basically doing just a lot of that. Coming up to the 16, hammer pull, and then just a 15 and hammer pull. And he does a little trill here on the G string between that 13 and 15 at the very end. And then we're going to end it with a note that's outside of that pattern, the group of 8, which is just that 12th fret on the D. You can put a little bend on it if you want. So we have this. You're going to make it to that note at the right time. So it's basically like this. All right, so just mess around with it. It doesn't have to be straight alternate picking. You can do a lot of legato. It's a random kind of just going for it effect, and it makes it sound great. You don't have to really plan out each note. All right, back to the main melody again, and it's interrupted. All right, so there's a slight interruption halfway through that melody. So that's the only time it's really ever interrupted. So we start it the same way, but that little 20, 19, 20, you don't hit the last 20. That's when you shift down here and do this. So that's a half step bend there at the 15th fret on the B string. Release it, pull off the 13, do that again, release and pull off again. So we have this. And then a quick little, that's a quick whole step bend and release at the 16th, then slide up to 18 into a whole step bend on the 18 as well. Release it and play 16 on the B. So we have this. And this little ascending lick, 17 on the G, 16 on the B, and grab the 20th fret on the high E string. All right, and now we have this little pedal tone lick. It sounds like this. All right, really cool lick. So we're basically going to be playing the 15th fret on the high E first, then 20, 19, 20. Now we're going to kind of do the same lick, but a little bit different notes. Same phrasing though. 15, and then it's going to be 18, 16, 18 on the B. Oh, sorry, the high E string. So we have this. So back to the 15, and do a quick little hammer pull between 15 and 16. Then play 18 on the B. Sorry. 18 on the B, back to that 15, then 16, 18 on the B string. And then just going to do 15 on the high E to 16 on the B 3 times. All right, then we're back to that main melody again, all the way through it this time. Then we have this ending. All right, kind of a little bluesy lick there. So we had, so after that little melody, we're gonna have the 18th fret on the B string now, the 15 on the high E string, and then a whole step at the bend at the 18th fret twice. So that comes out of, then this little descending arpeggio. All right, so we basically just have 15 on the high E to 16 on the B, then back through those 2 notes, resolve all the way down to the 17 on the G string. Now we have this little descending blues lick. So we basically just went from 15, after we resolve here to 17, we have 15 on the G, then 17, 16, 15 on the D, 13 on the D, over to 15 on the A string, then back to the 15 on the D, 13, and then 15 on the A. Actually, you might want to start it with the 15 on the G to that 17 on the D, and then back to that 15, and then do that little chromatic thing. So you see that, let me just get this right because there's a lot of notes. So we have this, when you make it to that 13 on the D string, that's really the end of the little kind of, that lick, and then we have this new lick, which is 15, 13 on the D to 15 on the A, done twice. So we have this. Back to the main melody. All right, and now we have one of those improvised things again, which is going to start with this. So that's the 13, 15, 16 on the high E, and then some whole step bend and releases there on the 16. Then you just launch into some A bunch of licks just on those 3 strings again. And he ends it, it's kind of one of those things we did earlier, and then with 2 little bends. A half step bend at the 15th fret on the high E, and then you pick it normal, so kind of a bend and release. Same thing on the B string. So with this. So you've got to time those last 2 little notes there, and then you'll be fine. You just can do whatever you want in between it, just using those same notes that he uses. All right, and now we have the ending, which starts with the same melody, and then it leads into some cool large bends. Sounds like this. All right, so coming out of that last, we're going to have a bend right here at the 18th fret on the B string, which is a step and a half. It's a big bend. Release it, pull off to 16. You want to, it's got to sound like that note that's 3 notes higher, 3 frets higher. Release the bend, pull off to 16. Now do the bend on the 18 again, but this time just a whole step. So it sounds just like the note 2 frets higher. Release it, pull off to 16 again, and shift back 1 fret and do a half step bend and release at the 15th fret on the B. Let that ring, and then slowly bend it up a half step. All right. In the studio, he's got it really kind of feeding back, and he can do that bend. It's just kind of sustaining because he's standing right beside the amp, and it's really kind of driving the tone. All right, so that's about it for the song. It's obviously got lots of cool solo lines in it, and really fun to play as soon as you get it underneath your fingers. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.